and welcome to this edition of Political Smackdown. I'm Betsy Wells, your host this week, and we have our usual group. We have Wes Westmoreland on my left, we have Andy Dedman on my right, and we have a new person with us today, Sherry Yoakum. Yes, as in the Dwight Yoakam, the country music star. I always remember that, Sherry. I'm sure he's one of your relatives.
No.
But thank you. Sherry is the head of the Republican Party here in Cleveland County, and Mike could not be with us today, and we really appreciate your filling in.
It has been a while since she's been with us. We were
Yes.
talking at breakfast. It's been a while.
I know. All right, well, welcome.
Thank you.
And before we get started talking politics today, I want to remember Bonnie Evans Reese, who served as our Cleveland County's Register of Deeds from 1995 until her retirement in 2016. Bonnie was truly a public servant, both in her professional and her personal life. She was one that was well thought of throughout the county. And do you have anything to say about Bonnie? Andy, I know you know her well.
I did. I mean, I grew up with Bonnie and her husband Don. They were they were at our house all the time. My mom and dad and them were best of friends. They went out practically every Saturday night together. In fact, Bonnie was my first treasurer when I ran in '94. You want somebody to look after your money, and I tell you, she looked after it. That was no fact. There was a fact about that. But she did an excellent job as Register of Deeds. I don't think you had any. We never heard of any potential problems out of her office, Betsy. No scandal, no. All you ever heard was that she was very welcoming and tried to make that office user friendly. I mean, there was a lot of times she stayed over at night. A lot of times when the genealogy people wanted to come and they were searching, for birth certificates and death certificates and all that, and she stayed late, sometimes till 9 o'clock at night to accommodate them. That was just the kind of person that Bonnie has always been. She was sorely missed, and my heart goes out to her daughter Deborah. It's just a terrible thing when somebody helps the clients like Bonnie's has the last few years, but she has left a mark on this county. It will never be forgotten. I'm sure of that.
You're right, Andy. All right, Wes.
I didn't have a whole lot of interaction with her, but I do know, Andy, you said put her in charge of the money because she handled it well. She certainly did as a county employee or county elected official in that office. Was well handled, well run office, and certainly was missed when she left, and condolences to the family.
All right, Sherry, I don't know if you knew Bonnie. Did you know anything about her?
No, ma'am, just what I read in her obit.
In her obituary.
Prayers to her family.
And she's, from Kings Mountain, and she was very active in her church, Kings Mountain First Baptist. She also played the piano beautifully and sang. And I know that several times, we'd be getting ready for convention, and she'd come up and she'd say, "Betsy, you want me to play?" And she'd just sit down there and just tinkle those ivories as everybody was setting up. And she was always a very strong Democrat, she and her husband. And she was the president of Democratic Women for a number of years while she served.
But you couldn't tell it by the way she ran her office.
Well, it's hard to put Republican and Democrat on a deed, but no. And she was. And one thing about Bonnie, I think, to people that stayed with her in the office, had many good things to say about her. And our condolences to Deborah and to the family. And Andy, I knew that when I saw that when you called me and told me she died, that I knew she was close to your family. But we shall miss public servants like Bonnie, and like I said, condolences to Deborah and her family. And then one of the items which upset the community this week is the closing of any time that you have an elementary school that's closed in the community. It's upsetting because a lot of times your elementary school is your focus point of the community. And we had talked in the past when the school system had closed Marion School and Graham School at that time, about the reasons for the closure, but this week the sale of the property has garnered much discussion on social media and was on the agenda of this week's school board meeting. The selling point was a huge sticking point. The selling price was a huge sticking point. Who was wanting to buy it? What happened at the meeting? Wes?
That's easy to answer in 30 seconds or less. This has been going on for quite a while, as we all know. I think back at the previous meeting in November, the board voted on a split vote to move forward with the sale to Preservation North Carolina, which would in turn put some restrictions and sell the property to an organization, One More, One Less, and authorize the superintendent and the board attorney to finalize the details of that deal. That's what came up at the last meeting, was to approve those details for the sale. So the details as presented in the packet, the sale would be to Preservation North Carolina for $150,000 down and $850,000 in improvements that would be made over the next 24 months. So $1 million out-of-pocket cost. Preservation would put some restrictions on the property, I think in an effort to help the neighborhood feel assured that the building and property would remain largely the same and not turn into a development. And then they would in turn sell it to One More, One Less, who would actually be the organization to make the improvements. That, at least in rough numbers, would match the tax assessment of the property at right at $1 million, but only $150,000 would come to the school system, which is where the rub came, at least for a number of people. So during the meeting, or at the beginning of the meeting, the board unanimously postponed the consideration of this. So right now, the property's not been sold. I think there was a closed session. Don't know the outcome of that, but this is, I'm quite sure, not over. I would encourage, Betsy, all of these board meetings are available live or by delay on YouTube. You can go to clevelandcountyschools.org, look under board, it'll show the past meetings. And I would encourage people to watch this and get more information and be fully informed as they make individual decisions.
Okay, all right. Sherry, what about you?
I think the designation as a historical site limited some of the buyers. I think that if that had not been done, and I understand about the community involvement in it, I think if that had not been done, you wouldn't have some of the upset about the cost. But I do think that the repair of the building, whatever's in the building and the community, would offset what it was going to cost to repair it, even if a developer came in. So you have to look at it both ways, I guess.
And that is a community in Shelby that's very proud of their homes, and they
Right.
want to maintain the community as such. And they have probably been over to Kings Mountain and seen all the little houses that's gone up in different spots.
Right.
If there's a plot of ground, seem like there's this new house there that's like development houses.
Oh, you don't have to go to Kings Mountain
I
to
know.
see that.
All right, Andy.
That's right.
What about you?
Here's the thing of it, and people keep coming back to it, Betsy. Marion School will never be open as an elementary school ever again.
But I think that some of the news down on social media gave people the idea that it would be
Some
reopened.
people are under that impression somehow. Well, it's not going to happen.
No.
That ship has sailed a few years ago. I mean, when Marion was closed as well as Graham. I mean, that's over and it's done with. Now it's what to do with the property itself. The county has passed on it. They've got the first opportunity at it. They did not want it. And the building has a lot of physical issues to it. You know, a lot of people, I've said a lot of things on the internet, there's a growing group, I don't know how big it is, that feel like it's not incumbent upon the school board to make the people in that neighborhood happy. It's to do what is best for the children of Cleveland County. And some of them are advocating that it be put out for bids on the open market to get the maximum amount of money, which with this amount of acreage is really not a tremendous amount of acreage, but when you've got that kind of acreage inside the city limits with water, sewer, gas all around it, it's going to go pretty high for that, the way people are spending it. And it'll be pretty similar to types of things that you're seeing built around Pinnacle West. It's not going to match the neighborhood by no means, and that's going to create some problems. But you've got a lot of people with conflicting opinions about this, about what is the true nature of what the school board should be doing. And it's like they're juggling balls trying to keep everybody happy, but they can't keep all the balls in the air all the time, Betsy. Somebody's going to get their feelings hurt when all this is said and done. I mean, that amount of money, is that truly the true value? The building itself, I wouldn't really put a whole lot of value to it because the amount of work and probably environmental issues with that. I guarantee there's asbestos and who knows what else in that building as old as it is.
$800,000 is not likely to cover it.
No, it's not.
Even though it sounds like a lot of money.
I mean, I think when it's really getting down to it, I think the school board is trying to unload a white elephant with a lot of potential liability to do something with it that they can get potential costs off their backs and liability off their backs, which I think is pretty smart move. But people are wanting something that's not going to happen, and it's just not going to be a local school that your kids can walk to. It's just not going to be that. What's the highest and best use? This one more, one less, from what I've seen, is a very good organization. There are some people got problems with that because it is a religious organization. I mean, there's going to be somebody that's going to pick this thing apart no matter what. Somebody's going to get sore-headed about something. And that's the nature of the world we live in now, folks. I'm not happy about it. Let's just figure out let's just do something with something that's just sitting there and it's doing nobody any good.
Yeah, it's been
It
empty
just
since
became-
22. And you know, that one more, one less is pulling in guardian ad litem. They're going to work with DSS. They're really looking in to help these children, foster kids and all. So
And-
personally, give them a chance.
And
Go
to a
ahead,
person,
Wes.
I think, every board member made a point to say they don't have a problem with the organization.
Correct.
That it's a good organization. So this has got really nothing to do with the organization itself.
It's the people that are outside the school board are saying that have issues about religious organization or affiliated organization.
Correct.
Which, you're always going to run into some of those somewhere,
Correct.
it seems like.
Correct.
And recently we had the interview with the DSS director, and she talked about the 250-some students, children that were under foster care.
Right.
And so this organization would help them. They would not take children. Somebody asked me, well, would they house them there at the school? I said,
No.
oh, no.
No.
They would just help
Right.
with whatever needs the foster families need.
Well, you might bring all those resources under a roof so that you could actually look at what each child needs.
Yes. Well, I thought that the school board did well in putting it first to the preservation group, and then they in turn would be the one that would give the money to the one more, one less. But well, we have talked about that, and now we're running into the break, and we shall see you back as soon as we take a break. And thank you for being with us for a Political Smackdown. Welcome back to this edition of Political Smackdown, and thank you for staying with us. Or if you just tuned in, we just finished talking about the possible sale of Marion School, and we just encourage you to go on to the school board and to YouTube and listen to if you weren't able to go to the meeting, to listen. And if the school board members have questions about it, I think they did well to table it, and it will come back up. They did not vote it down, and so it's something that'll be considered. And so we'll hear more from that. Well, we're right in the middle of filing. The filing closes for office for the March 3rd primary is December 19th, next Friday at noon. Now, I have known candidates to walk in the building at 4 minutes after noon, and Deborah Blanton would say, nope, you missed out. You'll have to file next time. I even knew one candidate in Kings Mountain for school board many years ago that was on a cruise and was trying to get back here to file, and got back at like 1 o'clock and missed filing.
Oh.
I mean, it's now if you're in line in the building, or if there's a line going out the door to file, then you can still file past noon. But now, and then here we are in the middle of Christmas. Right. You know, the Christmas parades have come and gone. Families are coming in. I'm flying in fact, to go up to see my little 7-year-old granddaughter in the Nutcracker. I'm flying out tomorrow and go up to Leesburg and see my 15-year-old granddaughter perform her guitar with her guitar ensemble, and my son with his group. He does middle school music now. Nice. And I'm flying back in on Thursday, and then I might get a Christmas tree up. We'll see. But anyway, let's talk a little bit about, we talked last week about the candidates filing, and so is anybody else filed? Andy, what you got?
Nope, nobody else. It's just been quiet. No local folks. We're still where we were at this time last week. There's no suspects that I know of. I keep getting asked, well, are there any Democrats going to come out of the woodwork? And I said, Betsy's got to go smoke them out, I think.
There's work going on. Anyway, Sherry, you're the head of the Republican Party, and I would hope that people that file for the Republicans would talk to you first, or at least let you know.
They have, and the individuals, there's maybe one or two that's still on the fence, but for the most part, everybody has filed, and according to Clifton Philbeck, who's over the Board of Elections, nobody's rescinded either. Nobody's gotten scared, so there you go.
So, and you have so many days if you take your name off the ballot. Correct. To where it's not printed. All right, Wes, you've been on the ballot. You know what all this is like. And it's always a great day I always love to go up the first day of filing to just see who showed up and who's there. And sometimes there'd be surprises and sometimes there wouldn't.
Yeah, if you're going to file, now's the time, because time's running out. Like
Yes.
you say, the 19th at noon will be the deadline, and we'll have a complete picture then, but it's starting to shape up like it's pretty complete now since nobody's filed in a week.
Right.
So I do, Roy Cooper has had an opponent to file against him, Darrell Farrow from Jacksonville, that I have never heard of, but we knew that. You know, he was for a national position in a state office like that.
But they have to go to Raleigh and spend some
and
serious
spend
money.
some money.
Yeah.
That ain't cheap.
No, in fact, I got a list of exactly what that would cost. It's $1,740 to file for the U.S. Senate.
That's pretty high for a vanity campaign.
And you go to Raleigh, and for the congressional district, Tim Moore's seat, it's $1,740. Now the judges, it's $1,626.20. Now you got to get that 20 cents in there. The district attorney is $1,673.37. And Mike Miller had to go up to the Board of Elections in Raleigh to file. Now the others that file at Cleveland County Board of Elections, our North Carolina Senate is $139.51. You remember that, don't you, Wes? Andy, you remember filing for the House.
Oh,
How
yeah.
much was it? It's now $139.51.
I don't think it's quite that high.
I don't
But
think
you
it
got,
was.
But you can't use cash. I watched a candidate, a county commissioner come in there, well, a roll of cash one time, and Deborah said, "Well, I can't take that." He said, "Why not?" I said, "Well, I don't take cash. You're going to have to go get a money order or a check."
And Betsy, most of those filing fees are based on a percentage of the
A
salary.
The
Salary.
salary.
withdrawal.
I was going to ask if it, is it 1% or
I
something?
think so.
I think it's
Okay.
1%.
And then the clerk of Superior Court is up $1,352.48. I guess that's how they get these cents in there. The sheriff is $1,207.73. Now the county commissioners comes down and it's cheaper. That's $122.44. And the Board of Education will not break anybody by filing. It's $25. Now, if you want to file for soil and water on down the road, you get to file for $5. So you have been told, you now know what it costs to file.
I don't think they get paid any. That's why it's $5. It's a minimum. They got to put something on it.
Probably. I would comment that Brent Caldwell, who is a Democratic candidate for the United States Representatives District 14, was in the Kings Mountain Parade last week with his wife and his 3 children, and was passing, waving and all that. And Kelly Hastings does have a primary against Caroline Eason, and that's not changed. So as it is, the only change really was that Roy Cooper had it to someone, and so we'll just look and see what happens in the next week. And usually if people don't file in the first couple of days, they wait and file at the end.
Correct.
And so we'll see what happens at noon on December the 19th. All right, well, moving on. Now for national news. The Democrats and at least one Republican in Congress are concerned that President Trump is moving towards an invasion of Venezuela. He says it's because of the drug flow. Boats have been destroyed and their occupants have died, but this week an oil tanker was seized. Should the American people be concerned about this becoming another war with boots on the ground? All right, Wes, you start.
Well, should be concerned about Venezuela, maybe not boots on the ground, at least in the immediate future. But the question is, what is war, and can the executive branch declare it? The Constitution's clear on it. The War Powers Act goes farther to clarify it. But as we look at recent history, there's a lot of questions. George W. Bush launched 15 drone strikes. Obama launched at least 563 strikes, primarily in Pakistan, Yemen, and Somalia, all people that we had not declared war against. Civilian deaths were somewhere between 300 and 800 people. That's civilians. The drone strikes largely ended with the Biden administration, but these were similar. We claimed they were terrorists, and we launched attacks against them. In Trump's first administration, he charged Maduro, the president of Venezuela, dictator, with narco-terrorism and international cocaine trafficking conspiracy. Now has taken military action, including taking over an oil tanker. Maduro is not elected. He lost an election and refused to give up the seat. Trump is taking decisive action, but it's a self-declared war. He's not reported to Congress as yet. It's more than 60 days, which both Biden and Bush and Obama did. Congress at some point has got to step up and limit the executive branch on these things, and hasn't yet. But the tanker was not flagged, so technically it's not an act of war.
All right, Andy?
Well, the problem is, though, Wes, who's going to go slap his hand on it? I don't see anybody lining up really wanting to. They'll get out there and they might say something, but nobody ever really does anything. As long as he still has the clout he does in Republican primaries, you're going to be hard pressed. Now, you might be able to get some folks that are going out the door retiring that will, but other than that, I mean, that's the problem. And my question is what narco-terrorist president does he like or not like? He's got one from, I believe it was Honduras. He decided, oh, I'm going to give him a pardon for whatever he supposedly done, and he's doing the same thing the guy in Venezuela's doing. So, I mean, what's the difference? I mean, I don't understand a lot of this, and as usual, I mean, the president can be confusing with some of his thinking, and it just, it defies my explanation of it. But I think we're going to see something else this year. It would not surprise me. We're going to have a war, and we're going to be drug into it there.
All right, so you see boots on the ground, the 15,000 personnel that's within the area.
I do.
All right, Sherry, what do you think?
I think that the way we're going, I'll just say, number one, I do think the decisive action to stop some of the drug boats has worked better than us just slapping people's hands.
With sanctions and
true.
stuff like that?
I do think that is more effective than, slapping your hand. But at the rate we're going, I hope we don't get a boots on the ground, but I could see it happen.
And, Russia's demanding answers as to why the United States did this. And the tanker was sanctioned for its involvement in illicit oil shipping to these terrorist groups. So that's what the president's office said. So anyway, it's scary, isn't it? It really is. And Maduro is not Trump's favorite person, needless to say. But I think we're more into transfer of power, and we'll just have to watch and see that. Anyway, but all of us. And we hope that, like Andy says, this Congress has got to be able to stop this. But we'll see if they will, because, let's see. We'll just see. All right, and now it's time for our lightning round. All right, Wes, start us off.
Well, as we approach the Christmas season, one of the things I'm most thankful for in American society is our economic system. Tim, bring up that picture if you would. Granted, it's been tainted by collectivism, particularly over the last century, but there can be no question that capitalism has made America the most wealthy and productive nation in history. So as you celebrate Christmas, celebrate capitalism as well.
All right, Sherry, what have you got for us?
I just want to say that we do have, we talked about all the candidates filing. Please do your own research on all these candidates before you make a decision. And remember, you can register to vote, but if you don't go to the polls, your voice does not count, so please vote.
All right, thank you. Andy?
Well, this week, not only did we lose Bonnie Reese, but we also lost D.G. Martin. He was a friend of mine while I was in Raleigh. Enjoyed him very much. I mean, he ran for the House down in Charlotte twice. Alex McMillan just barely beat him.
Barely.
Then he went to work for the UNC system, had a book thing. He had a long time, but great guy.
All right, and yes, we miss him. And mine was to honor those from Pearl Harbor. It was December 7th, 1941. That's all we have for Political Smackdown this week. Thank you for being here.